Hello, I'm Untitled, and today what we're going to be doing is the basics of tags in Unity. So, tags are basically names of an object, which I'll say later, but they're names that you can give to an object just like our names. And yeah, my name, which is Untitled right here, it's basically the same exact thing. So, well, it can also be used for many more cool things. Okay, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, I already have Unity open, and so I just want to explain like the basics of tags. So this is the first thing of what I've done in tags, and I've also done a little bit of extra stuff in this game, which I'll show you in a bit as an extra. And what I'm going to be doing here is opening up this specific trigger script. Click edit script, and we have this right here. So this on if it touches it at all, it'll put the scene changer called lose. But there's something that matters a lot in this specific thing. So if we zoom in on this, yeah, so right here, and I'm just gonna zoom in like this. And yeah, this looks fine to me. Just move it out of the way. But this if statement right here is one of the most important things in this game. So you see right here, it has the tag. So it has tag, and it says if collision dot game object. So that means if it collides with the game object, and if that tag equals player, then it will execute this command of going to scene changer dot lose. So it'll go to the lose scene, the scene where, yeah, the losing scene, and void on trigger collider. So if it collides, that would be the variable. And so there isn't really much, but this one line of code is what matters so much in this entire process. So if I do something right here, and if I click, actually wait, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how the game works like already. So if I go out and if I go here, this is how the game this is how the game actually works. So right here, this object right here, it's just going to be following me around at the moment, but if I show you, it'll only trigger if that tag equals player, right? So this tag does equal player. So if we go right here, we'll notice that no other object in the scene has the tag called player. So no matter what it touches, even the ground right here, it won't trigger at all. But as shown here, if I touch it, it did actually trigger the next scene, which is because the tag equaled player, which is this. So now what I'll do, for example, is if we zoom in a bit, like this, and if we change this one line of code that matters so much, and to make sure that it doesn't get a compile error, I'll take these two out too. And now we just have void on trigger. So that means if it collides, it'll immediately just take this scene. So let's zoom out, click Ctrl-C. So now it's saved it, and let's go back. So now let's wait for it to compile it. And no compiler errors are here. So I'm just going to clear it. And now what I'm going to do is check what it does immediately. And So what it did right now is, I guess, so the reason that it must have done the player is because I may need to click CTRL-S again, and let's see what happened here. Okay, so to make sure that it works, I'm just going to change that to this. So now the command will not really execute properly. Okay, and now let's check if it works. Okay, well, so now I think I realized why it wasn't working. It's because the box collider right here has a trigger. So it will only get triggered if something actually has a trigger. So that's what I think was going wrong in this. And that was the reason that it wasn't auto triggering. So let's just suppose that everything had a trigger. So let's just go to the box collider. And let's suppose that this one also had a trigger for something else. And then it would immediately just like send you to this game over scene, and it won't even let you do anything about that. So I'm pretty sure that, yeah, so usually I won't need to add another box collider. And the reason that didn't work was because this box collider doesn't have an is trigger. So now if we have an is trigger to this, it will automatically send us to this upon contact of anything. So, well, I guess now that we realize why that was happening, I'm just gonna change this one thing and go back. So this is really what I wanted to show. And now it's not immediately changing scenes upon contact, and it is changing these because this thing has a tag of player. So if I change this to random tag and I go and touch it, it talked, and there's no tags at the moment in the scene with the name player, so it can't really do anything about it. So it'll completely ignore the command. And now if I replace the tag back to player, it should work just fine. So I'm just going to fly over to it. And it did exactly. So yeah, now what I'm gonna do is go a little bit deeper into into what I personally think how this tag would work in a simple way. So okay, so how I would usually assume it would be, let's just say yeah, you and one of your friends. So consider you the black circle and your friend the blue circle. So then, if your friend said, or because it's my name, if one of my friends said, hi Chaitanya, and I would just respond saying hi or hello. And even if there were other people in the room, in this case, to explain this in Unity, even if there were other objects that touched it, it would only talk to this one object. Or if there's other objects, well, I guess let's just carry on. If there's other objects that touched it, it won't really pay attention to them if they don't have the tag. So now, so since one of my friends said my name and said hi Chaitanya, and I would usually respond, but it's very unlikely for somebody else in the crowd to respond to that. So yeah, so somebody else responding to that in when they said my name is unlikely, saying hi or hello again. And now let's just suppose that this black object right here is has a tag called player, which it needs to be triggered. So what I mean by this is so we have the code on exactly what I showed you just a few seconds ago, or like about a minute ago, was the if if gameObject.tag equals player, right? Just something along those lines, then it would trigger it. But if the object is not player, the command won't be executed. So let's see. So right here, the yellow cube with the yellow circle, which doesn't have a tag or has a different tag. Yeah, so in this case, the tags should be considered names. Like, that's what I meant when I said, when he said, hey, chafing you. So that was the tag I gave in the object, and that was basically their name. So now that this yellow circle touched this object with the trigger, which is a green space around it, it will immediately notice that, and it will respond. In this case, it'll ask the player or the tag. Yeah, so it'll ask the object with the tag of what we called it. So in this case, we called it player. So it'll ask player, hey, did you touch me? And in this case, the yellow cube or the yellow circle will not be allowed to respond, but the object with the tag player will respond saying no, because it didn't touch it. So then, now that it realized that what just touched it was not the player, the command is not executed. And now it's the same exact situation, but the black, the one which has the player tag touched it. So now it should actually work. So and this yellow object didn't do anything, so it'll immediately ask, did you just touch me? And again, it will say, yes, I did touch you. And then the yellow cube will still not be allowed to get in the conversation, or the yellow circle. And in this case, the command did get executed. So that's what just happened. And that's how the commands basically got executed. But in this case, it happens in like a half a second. So that may be what the delay is when it hits the object. It has that little conversation. Well, so now what we're going to be doing is I'm just going to be showing on how this one also worked. So this part right here, and actually for the AI itself, tags or layers are used. So it's a very similar type of thing, if I would say so myself. And right here, if we go to the A* pathfinding thing, we have this thing called the obstacle layer mask. And in this case, it defines what is an actual obstacle. So right here, if we look at this, so yeah, just a random thing right here, this would be defined as an obstacle. So it can't walk straight through it, or it needs to avoid and go around that object. Because if it goes straight through, it won't work, and it would just be hitting something and wouldn't really do much. So now if I go back here, and if I change the obstacle layer masks to like layer 7, and not mixed, and yeah, so if I change it to layer 7, then what will happen is, yeah, so what will actually happen is right here, it's kind of getting stuck on some things. It's not really being able to navigate through them that well, but sometimes it is able to just be locked, but it's kind of getting stuck on a lot of things right here. So I guess that's what just happened. So because it's kind of getting stuck and all, it's because that the obstacle layer mask is not obstacle. So yeah, because it's not obstacle, now that it is obstacle, it will avoid it much better. So if we click it, so it'll skillfully avoid all of these because their layer mask was obstacle. So now it works with much less problems as before. And yeah, so it knows how to navigate through this much better without hitting any of the walls or getting stuck on them. And yeah, so that, I guess that really worked out decently. And this tag is bit, which is also kind of important for part of this game too. And I'll actually explain that in a later video about for a devlog of this game. And well, we've pretty much covered a ton about tags and stuff. So yeah, I've just covered about the triggers with tags, but there are also many things you can do with tags. So I'm also willing to share some of those in some future videos. Tell me if you want me to continue this playlist of videos, I guess, about tags in Unity. So yeah, tell me that in the comments. And until then, bye.